We are celebrating springtime in the kitchen, and I hope you are going to come right along on the journey. Well, my friends, I welcome you to Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme, where we're celebrating spring. And what we are going to do is that I'm going to take you through the day. I prepared a couple of different dishes, and we're just going to work our way through a fun, warm spring day. We're going to start off today with a delicious salad for brunch, and then we're going to cook something delicious for dinner. So let's get started and come on in. We are starting today with a delicious spring salad, and it's going to have lots of color and lots of flavor. So let's put that together. What better way to celebrate spring than with a delicious spring salad? And we're starting this one with a variety of colors and flavors. You'll see that I have an organic spring mix that I'm going to be using, in addition to some peppers and tomatoes and onions and cucumbers. I'm even adding some grapes and, of course, carrots. Now, in the background there, you can see that I have some feta cheese that's going to be a part of this. And also, in the large bowl, I have mixed the spring mix in with just iceberg lettuce. I like iceberg, I like the flavor of it, I like the texture of it, and I like the spring mix, but I don't like it by itself. So I like to put those together. So I'm just kind of flipping through there, making sure that I have lots of good pieces and no ribs. And we are going to have a delicious, huge salad. So let's see if we can start to put this together. You can see that that spring mix has beautiful color to it. And we're going to add in, I've cut quite a bit of onion, and I'm going to put that onion in first. And I'm just taking my hands, I've cut the onion pretty small, but not so tiny that you can't see it, because just in case you happen to not like onions, you can certainly get around them when you can see them. And in this case, that's a good thing. So I'm sprinkling in, and these are some sweet onions that I'm putting in. Then we've got our onions in, and we're going to add a little more color. So we're going to sprinkle in that handful of shredded carrots. And like I said, we like the color. Everyone doesn't like carrots, but everyone in our family pretty much does. But you know, some people don't like carrots. So the carrots need to be large enough, not grated, tiny, but they need to be large enough that you can shred them. And that way, if someone doesn't like the carrots, they can pick them out. Now, in addition to carrots, I have cut some cucumbers. And these cucumbers I'm sprinkling in, and you know how I do. I put a few in, then we're going to play with it, look at the color, see what the balance is, and if I feel we need to add more, I will. Now I have clean hands, so I'm taking my hands and I'm mixing our salad to make sure that we have the carrots and the cucumbers all together. So I'm using one entire cucumber in this salad. And you know, I think just looking at it, it will probably give us 2 meals, which would really be nice. To this afternoon is going to be for lunch, a nice bowl of salad. And tomorrow, I could actually serve it on the side with dinner. So what I've done, I've cut up red peppers, yellow peppers, some orange peppers, and of course, green peppers. And I'm sprinkling those in as well, looking at those colors. So I'm going to give it a toss and see whether I have enough or if I'd like to add a few more, because we want this to just look like an absolute spring vegetable garden. So let's give it that good toss that we like and decide from there whether or not we want to add more. Now, what I will not put in this bowl will be the tomatoes because the acid of the tomatoes has a tendency to affect the lettuce and change the balance of the vegetables that are in the bowl, adds way too much liquid. And so I keep those on the side and I can just add those when I actually prepare the salad in the bowl. I've started putting the salad, one of the salad plates together. And as you can see, I've got a nice selection of the green vegetables that we had from the bowl. I'm in the process of adding in 2 eggs. And what I did was to quarter those eggs. So I've put the tomatoes on because we can do that at this point. And I'm taking the egg and just kind of putting it in a decorative design around the plate, but needless to say, once those forks and knives start, there's not going to be any decoration. In the center, I've added in some feta cheese, and this is for the big guy because the big guy is not a fruity person when it comes to his salad. He wants to keep it very um, vegetable-y, so to speak. So now we're going to fix Mama's. So I've got my plate, and I'll actually show you how I put mine together. So we're going to add in a good couple scoops of our mixture. And as you can see, we have not really put much of a dent on this bowl of salad. So that's going to be great. So not only are we going to have a big salad tonight, but we'll have enough left to have a big salad tomorrow night as well with dinner. And you know what I like is that I try to get as much on this big salad as possible. So I try to add my protein if possible, and sometimes I'll do tuna, sometimes I'll do chicken salad. So as you can see, I've got the greens and the cucumbers, the peppers, the onions are all on the plate. And we will add the tomatoes. I want to add those. I love tomatoes. And we're just a tomato family. Now, one thing about when you're fixing your salad, make sure those hands are nice and clean because it's just so much easier to use your hands rather than having to, and especially since you're the one that's doing the preparing as well as the serving, then it's just so much easier to just put it all together like that. So I've put the tomatoes around, but for me, I want some of these delicious, delicious purple grapes. And they're kind of, I think they call them red grapes, but they're pretty dark. And what I did was that I sliced them in half, and I'm just sprinkling some on my salad because I like that little extra taste of the grapes, and I'll leave a few to have later for dessert because I am a grape lover. And so let's sprinkle a little bit of that feta cheese in the center. And I like cheese as well, so we're going to work on a little bit of the feta cheese sprinkled in. There we go. And that's a little bit of protein as well as dairy. That's right there. And, you know, we could have put in bacon. We could have added tuna. Um, you could have put in some guacamole. And there's just all kinds of things that you could add to this salad. And so I'm putting in my eggs as well. And sometimes the eggs are nice and they lay in your hand very nicely so that they look pretty, and sometimes not so much. So at this point, I wanted the big guy's salad to look very nice. And mine, I will get it together and I'll try to have a nice looking plate too. So I'm just going to shake off my hand, get that second egg, and that's my major protein. So let's get it sliced down the center and then into quarters. And I'm going to turn it. Now I'm going to add to the table a jar of pickles because the big guy likes pickles on his. He's very savory and rather than sweet. Now my pickles are the, you know, I love those sweet, hot pickles, and but I'm out. So I won't have those. So I know he's going to go for the little dills and he'll cut those up. And my salad is perfect. I love the way it looks, and I think that's going to work just perfectly for me. So I'm going to give you a look, let you look a little closer. You'll see I have extra boiled eggs for tomorrow night. The main part of the salad is already done, and that spring mix looks like it's hardly been touched. So we're going to get quite a few salads out of that this week. And we do, not only during the spring, but year round. We try to serve salad at least 3 to 4 times a week because we need those fresh vegetables. And that's a great way to get in 5 to 7 servings of vegetables a day. So there we go. We have our spring salad. Is that not beautiful? Look at those colors of spring.
Planning, cooking, and decorating are the things that I do in my kitchen all the time. And if you like those types of things, I invite you to join the Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme family because this is where we work hard, we love God and family, and we know without a doubt that everything else is just gravy. So, right now, go down to the subscribe button and click on it. Also, while you're there, tap that little bell icon so that every time I upload a video, you will know. Also, you may also go down into the description box and take a look at some of my favorite Amazon items. And I list those types of things all the time because as I use them, I invite you to use them also. So, there's a nice running list of things there.
Now, lunch was absolutely delicious. Those salads were so filling, and it is just about dinner time. So now is the time to think about what we're going to put together for dinner. And I thought about a Dagwood sandwich. How many of you know what a Dagwood sandwich is? I don't know. Maybe I'm dating myself just a bit. But Dagwood Bumstead was one of the characters for this really funny cartoon. And he loved this Dagwood sandwich. And in fact, they named it after him because that's what he did. And when he made this Dagwood sandwich, it just looked like it was a foot tall. And that then he would have to figure out how to squash it enough to actually make it work. So let's look at the ingredients for this Dagwood sandwich. I'm using Oscar Mayer fully cooked original bacon. I thought I'd try that just to see how I like it. Normally, I would just fry up my own bacon, have some extra left over from breakfast and use that, but didn't have it today, so I'm trying this. You'll see the eggs have been sliced and ready to go. They're going on the sandwich as well as sliced tomatoes. We're going to use turkey and ham, and this is that Kentucky Legend turkey and ham, as well as a little bit of onion. And now while the lemons are not going on the sandwich, they are going to go into our green tea that we're going to be serving alongside these sandwiches. So remember, if you don't have time to prepare the bacon and you don't have any leftover from breakfast, then you can certainly use this Oscar Mayer fully cooked bacon, and it's not bad. What I did was to run it in the microwave for about 10 to 15 seconds. And that was to help crisp it up and get it just a little warm because when you get it and they're in pouches, and when you get those pouches, they're just a little flimsy, and I like mine a little more crispy. We're also adding some chunky guacamole because that is so good for you, as well as some lettuce leaves, some aged Swiss, and some extra sharp cheddar because cheese is always great on a sandwich. And besides, since we have several decks to this Dagwood sandwich, we're going to need a variety of different things to put on the sandwich. You'll see that I also have my spring magazines that I'm keeping handy, so in case I need some inspiration for the rest of the week, I can certainly go into those, into that packaging. So I'm just going to give you one more look at what we're going to be using tonight. The Dagwood sandwich is interesting because it uses a number of pieces of bread. And tonight we're going to actually use 3 pieces of bread per sandwich. Well, as you know, everything is already on the tray. I've already put together the salads for this evening as well. There's our bread, and I'm going to get our bread out. And like I said, we're going to be using 3 slices of bread per sandwich because our Dagwood sandwich is not going to be like Dagwood Bumstead's because his sandwich really is huge. And as far as I'm concerned, he can maybe carry off that many slices of bread, but that's not for me. So I'm going to take out about 6 slices of bread, and you can certainly change up the ingredients according to what your family likes. You can use a different type of bread if you like. I'm using thin sliced bread, and I'm going to toast mine. So I have my toaster handy, and I'm just going to add those slices in. Now, you know, toasters are always tricky because sometimes they toast too much, sometimes they don't toast enough. So we're starting with, while the last batch of bread is preparing, we're going to start with the guacamole. I'm going to spread guacamole on one layer of the sandwich. And you know, I'm not using salad dressing tonight because I am using the guacamole because it's going to make that sandwich just a little bit slippery. So we're going to be careful with that. And on top of that guacamole, I'm adding some slices of Swiss cheese. So that's looking at one layer. I have some mustard, and I'm going to need to shake that up a little bit. So I'll place mustard on the next slice of bread. I'm going to get that spread out, and then we should be ready to really start putting this sandwich together. Now, I don't know about you, but you know, it's kind of fun to have a springtime dinner where you can put things together, have things already almost pre-made before it's even time for dinner. All right, we're adding some extra sharp cheese to the sandwiches, and I'm going to place on the extra sharp cheese. I'm going to start loading things up. So I've got the lettuce. That's going to go on one layer because each bread of lettuce represents a deck on the Dagwood sandwich. So, you know, the type of lettuce that you use is up to you. I'm using iceberg. Now, I'm putting the bacon on top of the Swiss because I just think the two of them should go well together. So I'm putting 2 slices of bacon on each sandwich. And my toaster was doing something weird, so I just unplugged it. Didn't want to burn my bread up. So there we've got our bacon in place. And we're going to add the turkey on top of the bacon. So let's get, I can't decide, should I use 2 pieces of turkey? We'll see. So we're going to put the ham over on the extra sharp cheese layer. And you know, you can certainly use a different type of meat. You may want to make your Dagwood sandwich more beef oriented. You could do that as well. So I decided to turn the turkey a little in another direction and add really what would total up to about 2 halves. So let's put on some onion And, how much onion you put on is up to you as to how much onion you like. You could set this up as a bar, whereas your family could come through, they could put their own decks together. And then, as you know, the decks are going to stack on top of each other. So we're putting the eggs on top of the ham and eggs. We're going to add some tomatoes and that have been sliced, and we have plenty. And those tomatoes are going to make it just a tiny bit slippery. So the tomatoes are going to be the last of that deck. That's deck 1. Deck 2 is ready to go right on top. And notice that as I place deck 2 on, I'm giving it just a little push so that we won't lose it. Now I'm adding the last deck. And that last deck is just the bread. And I'm pressing it in place. So our decks are ready, our sandwiches are ready. I'm going to get 4 toothpicks for each sandwich, because as we cut this, they're going to slide. So I'm just warning you now. If you have some long skewers that you could get from maybe the Dollar Tree, you could use skewers in each of the sections. So I'm going to cut our sandwiches into 4 pieces, 4 slices. And I'm going to make this huge X. And that X is going to give us 4 sections of the dagwood. So notice how I'm turning it. You need a sharp knife, so just heads up, because with the guacamole is going to let it slide. So you got 2 things, tomatoes and guacamole, that may shift your sandwich. So you really have to hold on to it. And even with holding on to it, it has a mind of its own. But you know what? It's okay. So we have our plate. I'm going to put our sections on the plate. Because I really want to be able to get everything on the plate. So we have our tossed salad to make sure we get our vegetables. Have another piece of our sandwich. So you have 4 sections to your sandwich. Yum, yum. It's going to be so good. And that's the first plate. Now, the first plate is always fun because that's your sample plate where you're trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do and how is this going to work? So we're going to look at that second sandwich and see if we can even do a better job. So I'm taking our knife, cutting it into our sections, just like we did with the other one. Notice I got cute this time and decided that I would try to do it without the toothpicks. Well, we'll see how that works. Actually, it did pretty good. Not too bad, not too bad. Because guess what? No matter what, toothpicks or not, the guacamole is going to ooze out. So just be prepared for that. If you use guacamole, it will ooze. So I'm going to need a couple of more toothpicks. Yummy. Now, these sandwiches would also be great for dinner, for lunch. We're having them for dinner. You could certainly serve them for lunch. Or if you have, like I said, a large group, you can set this up as a buffet. And everyone could fix their own dagwood sandwich. And that would really make it fun. Because I'm going to serve some pickles, I may even have some chips on the side. So there's our sandwich, our salad, and that's what our sandwich looks like from the side. Can you see those beautiful layers? And you can see those tomatoes sliding around, but you know what? They're going to slide right into your mouth. I am so glad that you have been a part of this beautiful spring day and that we have been able to spend our time here in the kitchen of Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme. Now you know that this is where we work hard. We love God and family, and we know without a doubt that everything else is just gravy. And you know what? We're happy to have spring, and we are blessed to be able to celebrate each day. So I hope you'll continue to come back, because you know, in this kitchen, we do things in the kitchen for the kitchen. So I am so looking forward to seeing you soon.